Good afternoon and welcome to the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety. 4 o'clock Wednesday, May 11th, 2022. We'll call this meeting to order and we'll start off with a resolution approving the minutes of the April 26, 2022 meeting of the Glens Falls Board of Public Safety.
I move that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstain? There you go. Number 2 is a request to approve the 2022 Residents of Coolidge Avenue Annual Block Party from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, May 28th, in the same manner that the event has been held in past years. 2 block lane closure requested and emergency right-of-way will be provided. Do we have a motion?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Is there any, before I go any further, is there any of these motions, I apologize I didn't ask, anybody have any questions or would like to pull these? And if so, just don't make the motion, let me know, we'll have a full conversation, okay? I'm not trying to run it through, just so you all feel empowered to speak up if you have any questions. So number 4 is a request to retroactively approve the closure of Oakland Avenue from Route 9 to Ferdella Avenue in the city of Glens Falls, Tuesday, April 26th from 7 a.m. to noon. 7 a.m. to midnight for a concert held at the Cool Insuring Arena as approved by Mayor Collins on April 14th. And the arena had already gotten agreement and understanding from Finch Page. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And number 5 is a request to approve the 2022 Cystic Fibrosis Foundation 5K walk in the city of Glens Falls on June 4th, 2022 from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. along the route outlined in the information packet in a manner consistent with how the event has been previously conducted. The expected attendance is approximately 250 persons. Do we have a motion?
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 6 is to request a request to approve the 2022 Adirondack Runners 5K runs in the city of Glens Falls at Coles Woods on Tuesdays, May 22nd, from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. in a manner consistent on how the event has been previously conducted. The expected attendance is approximately 75 persons per event. Do we have a motion?
Excuse me,
Yes.
Mayor, excuse me, just a correction.
Uh-huh.
If, start time 5 p.m. on their application,
Oh, great, so 5 instead of 5:30.
correct.
Thank you. From 5:30 to, or 5 to 7:30. Do we have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Resolution 7 to approve, a request to approve 2022 Garfield Street Block Party in the city of Glens Falls on Garfield Street between Grove and Shippey Street on May 30th, 2022 from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. in a manner consistent with how the event has been previously conducted. The expected attendance is approximately 10 to 15 people. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion. Go ahead, Frank.
And second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
He's
Aye.
first, I'm second.
Great. Under new business, I think we have 2 people. We can do it at this point if you'd like. We have 2 people to discuss upcoming events. I don't believe you have this information in your packet, but they wanted to come and talk to you about it, and it would be included in future. So the first is Jennifer with Glens Falls Symphony regarding the July 3rd Independence Day Celebration Symphony Concert. Welcome, Jennifer.
Hi, thank you. So the July 3rd concert, do you need me to be over there? Okay, sorry, wonderful.
There you go.
So the Glens Falls Symphony is put on, it'll now be for 22 years. A performance at Crandall Park with fireworks and the concert and all the food vendors in the afternoon. In 2020, we didn't do it, obviously. In 2021, we had it a little later in July because of the restrictions opening up. This year, we're back on our normal day of July 3rd, and so we would love to be there at the park doing all of the same things we've done before. In the past, how we have, we've had a lot of help from the city on traffic. I have a map, I can go into that detail if you'd like. Because we usually have another meeting later, closer to the event, where we really go into which streets and who's going to be posted where. But what ends up happening is that there is parking inside the park, and it's only in one direction. And there are city police posted at the in and the out, and it's traffic as it leaves the concert, because that can be very, very dense. We don't let people turn left off of Fire Road out into, off of the road that comes out of the park there by the man shell. They are not allowed to turn left. Everyone has to turn right. So that was a big improvement made a few years ago. And we have a fireworks permit being put in by Santori's Famous Fireworks. They've done the event for years. They've been in touch with the fire department. We have volunteers who will be in the fireworks area, policing it during the afternoon to make sure that as people are arriving early and bringing their picnics and whatever, that they don't go into that region and get themselves stuck there, inside the caution tape. So those are the primary elements of safety. We also have requested, the last 4 years that we've done it, we have had EMT presence at the event and also requested police presence as well. We've never had a major incident, but the presence of police on the premises has made a big difference. Partly if someone has an injury or something happens, even though it's so far always been small, they know that someone's there and somebody can go running to that person and get things happening. So that's been a really wonderful aspect. That took a while to make happen, so I'm really appreciative of all of that. So the event will be on July 3rd, that is a Sunday this year, and we don't know what we're expecting this year. In the past it's been 4,000 or 5,000 people. Last year with the later date on July 24th, we think it was around 3,000. We're doing a lot of marketing this year, so we might be back up to our regular numbers, around 4,000 or 5,000 people. Depending on the weather, a lot of people, if it's lovely weather, not rainy, not too hot, people tend to come 2, 3, 4 p.m., set up, have picnics and whatever, and there are usually some bounce houses, and the bounce house vendor has approached us again this year, so there will be some activities. We've also added a new activity this year, which is we've invited all of the arts organizations that are inside the Glens Falls Arts District to have a table and have a kids' art activity in the afternoon. The Chapman Museum, the World Awareness Children's Museum, etc. So I have a little map. I don't know the best way to distribute this. This is the map that's in our application. And nothing in here is new from previous years except for one thing, which is, you will see, as you look down where the handicap parking is, you'll see in yellow Youth Arts Area. That is where we had originally proposed putting the tables for the arts activity. I've been in conversations with Bill Trombley, who many of you know, who's our volunteer who helps, he's kind of our vendor wrangler and is on the field on the day. He actually recommended that we move the Youth Arts Area over to the basketball courts, because then it would be nice and flat. I'm not sure about that, only because of the heat. If it's really, really hot and it's 4 o'clock, that's a pretty hot place to be. So we're trying to work out exactly what the best way to approach that is. It would probably be something like 7 to 10 tables with activities for kids in the afternoon. So that's a new element. The only other aspect that is really we're very excited about actually, but it's potentially an issue that everybody should know about, which is that the Chapman Museum is using the Queensbury School District bus that was created to be a traveling exhibit space and activity space. They're going to be at the event, and they're going to be wherever we decide all together where they should be. And they're going to have an interactive exhibit inside the bus during the afternoon, during that 4 to 6 p.m. And we've talked back and forth about whether it makes sense to have them there on the grass in front of the basketball court so that all the kids' arts activities are there. I don't know about the weather. If it's been raining, that's an awfully soft, we don't want to have a huge bus on the beautiful field. So that's one little element we're working out, trying to make sure it's in the safest place and in a place that doesn't damage the field at all. And those are new elements, but we're kind of excited about that.
Great.
So that's the main overview, but if you have any questions.
So I'll let you guys ask any questions you have in a moment. So in general, I think I could speak for the group that we we love the idea of the plans, but we need you to finish those plans and included with the details of the number of volunteers you're having, the location of the things that you've yet to determine. And then we need that to come to Chip quickly, and then go to the two chiefs, because it's the two chiefs that recommend, that they've seen your plans, they agree with the safety plan of it, and then we finally say,
Okay.
absolutely. So,
Great.
I appreciate that you're getting to us early, I really do. It's much better than coming to us in the June one and saying, oh, I'm not quite sure, right? Because it puts the board in a tough spot, right?
Sure.
And, so in this case, though, we need those plans finalized. And the best thing that you could do to help everybody sleep at night is we expect 25 volunteers to help with this area. We have this company doing the fireworks, and we've got these people. We'd like to request a firefighter or two whatever it is you've done in the past. Please don't say, like we've done in the past. And
Sure.
just say that, right? Get specific. Although Chief Schrammel probably remembers the plan better than all of us. Please
Sure.
write out everything so that they can remember.
Sure, so there are a lot of details in the application.
Great.
But I can flesh that out further and,
Yep.
make it a little more explicit.
And if you have any questions about it, you could always, I don't know, Chief, have you looked at this in the past really because of the crowd controls, right? Great, and I would assume that you're thinking that if it returns and it's a nice day, that you'll return to the same numbers is a gross underestimation. The events that we've seen, if you have a decent day, I would expect 20% more than you've ever had at this event before. That is what we are seeing at events, the events that I've done as a vendor in other places, but also in Glens Falls. We had more people at Wingfest than we ever would have imagined, and we did not properly, I don't wish to be critical, but we didn't. If we had had 150 more volunteers, we could have made that day so much better, but we just never, we were caught off guard by it.
Okay,
So
fair
I would
enough.
expect 20% more. Yes, sir.
As long as you talk about numbers, if you're gonna reach 5,000, you're aware that you need a permit from the
Yes.
State Department of Health.
I am aware, and we're in contact with them.
Yeah, you have to file that within 45 days from the start of the event, and 15 days from the first advertisement for the event,
Yep.
which is required by New York State law.
Yeah, so I've already sent that in.
Okay,
Great.
so it would be nice to have a copy of that, so
Okay.
we file
And
that.
and in the
Great.
process, if you share your information with these two gentlemen, the sooner the better, even now,
Okay.
you'll find that they'll be able to tell you what's missing much faster than if it comes to Chip and then goes to them and then you're busy and they're busy. We've seen that happen too, right? Where we have concerns and we can't get it. They tend to have the most intelligent questions, and then we get to say, yeah, she thinks it's a great idea, and that makes it easy on us. Fair enough?
Fair enough, that's
All
great.
right. Anybody, now, saying all that, anybody have any questions? Yes, please.
I do. The application, we do not have. When are you submitting that?
It was submitted.
No,
Um,
I never got it, unless it looks at recreation.
Just
We did.
recently?
I have a couple copies here.
Just recently?
No, a while back. Let's see, so here is, this is the description that goes along, because you know what, I think
We'll
have
it'll
the
be on
actual
next
permit.
week's agenda, next month's agenda for us to be able to see.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was talking about, we have to put it on the agenda. So
Yeah,
Gotcha.
so that's the application. I think it was submitted maybe,
Just,
6 or 8
probably
weeks
went
ago.
to recreation, yeah.
Okay. Great.
okay.
Thank you.
Do you want me to send it?
Yeah, we'll just have to go on the next meeting, but anything else you can give them to.
Okay, and I
Then
can
it goes-
send that just again,
Yeah, to me,
right
then
to
it goes
you?
into their packet and then they look at it.
Okay,
And more
great.
importantly, it goes to the chiefs first.
Yes,
Or at the same time, I shouldn't say first, but yes. And then you would be wise to contact the chiefs and say, do you have any questions about the packet? And then you'll know.
Send it to me. and-
Fair enough?
got it.
Yeah, these guys will have the opportunity to ask you details at the next council meeting or at the next board meeting.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I have questions regarding the basketball court. That's used for the public. What do you plan? I don't know that you can put tables on the basketball court and overtake that on 4th of July weekend especially.
This was just an idea that Bill Trombley had for having a level space.
Mhm.
So that's why I kind of wanted to ask it, because I don't know what the policy is about that. So
Well,
that's why
I'm
I
not-
brought it up.
I'm not on the recreation board, but I don't think that is a good idea to try to take the basketball court and, no.
Open the
Okay, so it would
day.
be from 4 to 6 just on that one day.
So you can speak to the recreation department, it's about, like tables on the basketball court, it
Yeah.
all depends on the type of table.
Art materials on the court,
Yeah.
paint.
It should be level.
Yeah.
Just in
There's a
front
lot
of.
of, there's.
I actually feel more comfortable in front of that,
Yeah, I mean,
partly because of the
I
little
think-
cooler on the grass.
That way you eliminate any,
Yep,
Okay.
somebody,
great.
We'll
Makes
let
sense
you,
to me.
we'll let you have that conversation with Amy, but then you make whatever you decide, that's gotta be in the packet to answer
Okay,
Amber's
great.
question.
I really disagree with that. And my question next is, the bus going to be on what side of the court? The road or the park side?
Well, we can put it wherever you advise, honestly. That was actually, I came with that question. So, it can either be on the side towards the trees there or in front.
Leave that to our chiefs to talk to you about, and
Okay.
also finally Amy. So Amy's gonna know the requirements of the court itself. I assume we don't want your vehicle on it no matter what.
Oh, yeah,
But-
I wouldn't want that.
But again, I'll let the chiefs first talk about safety, and then Amy will talk about the venues
Okay.
and where you can go with it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They were my
Yeah.
questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, good thoughts. And it is great, thank you for doing this now, because then we can make sure the process, and that is a torture chair. just
Yes,
so
I-
They
I-
all are, yes, sir.
Hear that.
Yeah, if you can make it an hour in that chair, you've done something. Let's see. Number two, topic number 2 is a bike lane demonstration project from Bike Glens Falls and Glens Falls Hospital. Great,
Mind if I?
sure.
Hi, Ethan Gaddy, resident, part of Bike Glens Falls. I'm here with John Huggins from Glens Falls Hospital.
Hey, John.
Thanks for having us back. So Mayor Collins, in your absence, we had an opportunity to come in, present the idea of the Complete Streets Demonstration Project. The idea is have some temporary installations downtown so residents can see what good bike facilities look like. The last meeting we talked about, hey, what are some of the insurance requirements? Let's make sure we have enough time to plan this out appropriately, coordinate with other departments, and get insurance. So in the last month, what we've done is we fine-tuned the location for this event. We've done this by using Labella Engineering. The Glens Falls Hospital Health Promotion Center has a contract with them for some of the design work. That's included in the application packet. And then we also worked with O'Brien Insurance to talk about the nature of the event and get a quote, which is pretty reasonable. I've included that in the packet as well. Originally, we had talked about doing this on June 6th or 3rd.
And I don't think you guys have the packet because it was just recently
We
given to
do.
the chair. Oh, you do? I apologize. Great, thank you.
you have it?
I,
Yeah,
do
that's
now.
Yeah, and take your time with it. It's fairly
Yep.
straightforward. The meat of it is in the first 6 pages, the last 18 pages of the insurance language. But to the insurance point, I did speak again with O'Brien, knowing that we hadn't pinned down the date, and they said, yeah, moving the date is fine. Just let them know in advance. So that's all in order. That's a pretty manageable process. And really, what we'd like to do is, get this application in to the board. Have you, take an opportunity to look at some of the concept drawings that are there. It's for the temporary bike lanes. And then also consider the fact that we'd like to do this on either July 13th or 20th. That's a Wednesday. And that would give us time in between then for another meeting of this board so that we could iron out any of the existing details that might emerge from your review of the application and review of the concept drawings. So, you'll see in the packet of the concept drawings, there's 4 different roadways. In that, it's an aerial view, and it shows where this bike lane would go. And there's 4 different arrangements. One is which there's a bike lane with parking on one side of it. Another situation where there's a bike lane on the inside of the parking lane, in between the curb. And then another one I think is just a shared roadway. in any event, these different alternative configurations of bike lanes in a road are there to show residents, hey, these are the different options in front of you, what do you prefer? So at the event, we anticipate having some sort of educational component, so as people come to it, they'll understand what the intent of the display is. And then we'll have people from Labella and Bike Glens Falls and Glens Falls Health Promotion Center on hand to answer questions, do the education. So that's it. That's for the day. In advance of the day, we'd like to continue to coordinate. We have not reached out to the police chief or fire chief on this one yet. But now that we do have the concept drawings from a licensed engineer who's in the traffic division, we think now we have something to actually talk about and react to. So I think in between now and that next meeting, we can coordinate with them as needed, and sort of, answer any questions that we might have on this. Also, as a side note, you'll see in the application, it's our intent to go out and talk to residents, business owners that are in the vicinity of this demonstration project, to let them know what's going on, so they don't just wake up one day and see, hey, what's all this stuff, what's going on here? So we want to make sure that this isn't disruptive to whatever it is that they have going on. Because there is an educational component to this, and it wouldn't make any sense for this event to go on and have, upset residents about it.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to get to the end of this. You're gonna show bike lanes,
Yeah,
and you're gonna show versions of what you can do.
yeah,
And you're gonna show a demonstration
yeah,
case for the public.
yeah,
And this demonstration is gonna be the public and private bikes around this thing.
yeah.
When they do on that one day, is there only one version laid out, or is there different versions laid out?
So slightly different versions on each one of those road segments, Maple, Ridge, Bay, and East Washington.
Okay.
Because of those are slightly different ways that you could lay out a bike lane?
Exactly, yeah, exactly. Because the nice part about this is, for the purposes of the city of Glens Falls, it's an old city, we have roads that were built at all various times and various widths. This is an opportunity to show people, okay, within the constraints of this road width or right of way, this is something that we could do. Let them try it out, let them feel it in person, to sort of see what they like or don't like.
So, as a result of this, okay, you've identified already these particular roads. Is the plan to expand this if this flies in different areas of the city? Or are you just trying to make one bike, like the bike trail?
Yeah, ultimately, it's the ultimate goal of Bike Glens Falls. So Bike Glens Falls, volunteer group of residents that said, hey, we're interested in making biking as an activity more, comfortable, safe, and convenient as a practical means of transportation.
Yeah.
So let's less rely on cars. Let's bike around the city. It's a quality of life issue. It's a public health issue. It's a sustainability issue. We have a great, compact, small city. Plan after plan that we have, whether it's a DRI plan or some of these, downtown vision plans, they reference, hey, Glens Falls is a great spot to walk and bike. With a few key investments in infrastructure, whether it's, bike lanes, intersection improvements, signage, it can improve the safety of cycling in the city quite a bit. So what we'd like to do is, hey, it's possible. So show residents we can do this here in our city, and that will make people a little bit more aware of the possibilities in our city. And if the city does choose in the future, when they're doing repaving projects, other infrastructure projects, to incorporate bike infrastructure into those things, that there will be a public understanding of what that looks like. Oftentimes you'll find that when municipalities propose bicycle infrastructure, they think it comes at the cost of ease of traffic flow or parking, and that there's going to have to be a lot of compromises for these other modes of transportation to use bicycles. That's not always the case. We like to show that with this demonstration. You'll see in that 4-block radius, it's going to be a temporary closure of just 15 parking spaces. So it should be a good demonstration project.
Yeah, there's a lot to see before we even get this, so I get it. Yeah, I think it's great, we've got one on over by the hospital.
Yeah, on,
Where they can
yeah, on
park,
Hudson.
where they can park on Hudson, and that's not interfering with that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this years ago in cities, or big cities made bike
Yeah,
lanes.
I mean, I was just down in New York City a couple weekends ago, and yeah, all over the place, in Manhattan, of all places,
Aren't they
just,
starting to close streets now for
oh yeah,
pedestrians?
yeah, they just turned it into walkable area. I think how nice it is on Glen Street for Take a Bite.
Yeah,
It's just, it transformed the whole space, and think about how many people it draws.
I think it's a great idea. So,
So at the end of this, you would, if approved, you would have data that says, people, we close these streets down, these 4 different streets have this slightly different makeup, and we queried, you know, we surveyed people, and they really like this one more than this one, or that one, right? And
Yeah, that would be
that's
part of
the
it.
goal?
And the key thing too is that we wouldn't actually be shutting down the streets.
no.
Yeah, because the whole purpose is to show that you can have bike infrastructure, pedestrian infrastructure, and automobile infrastructure all in the same place, and
And it-
maintain continuity of operations throughout.
It does depend on the road.
It does,
Sure,
yeah,
it does.
exactly.
It
There's no
does.
standard treatment.
There's, and if you can fit it in with no impact, not too much impact, so it's gonna be.
15 parking spots, and
You know.
depending on, you know, if you are somebody who believes in this, which I do, 15 parking spaces in 4 blocks is not a huge sacrifice. But if you're somebody who thinks parking is a big problem, and that they might disagree with that, but that's okay. I mean, at this point, you're just doing it temporarily.
Yep.
And you're showing, and we did, and nothing lost, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? You can't look at the preferences and that. The plan, this plan, I would like to make sure that you get it to both our police chief and our fire chief
Mhm.
right away.
Yep.
I also, have you spoken to Aaron Frankenfeld about this?
Yes.
About this event?
About this event, yes. And how about my community development director, Pat Dow?
I think,
Yeah.
So my goal,
Yeah,
is
but-
my goal is to get all of those things, so I appreciate that Bike Glens Falls is a great volunteer group, but I want to put everybody on the same page. I want every project that has to do with biking and looking at different bikes, looking at our future as we look at transportation initiatives, that they're all tied in together and not separate. Although
Yeah,
I
that is-
feel like,
that's the way to do
you
it.
know, your group was formed probably because we weren't responsive to maybe some requests you made. And that's an assumption about me long before, or not me, but us. And I don't say that in a negative way, I'm just saying it to be frank. I think that I wanna make sure your group isn't operating anymore independently. I want it to collaborate with my community development director, with the hospital, and with the transportation, I'm gonna say it wrong, I wanna say GGFT, it's not, it's Greater Glens Falls Transportation. So I wanna make sure that all things are happening at the same time and not isolated in a box. I also need my fire chief and my police chief to be looking at this in detail. And then we'll let the conversation go where it goes, right? We close down temporarily 14 parking spots, and then as we get more information together about these possibilities, the fact that if we were to make complete streets, if we were to start to add complete streets to these streets, how many spots would be losing? And the reason I'm a little sensitive to that is because if you've read the paper lately, there's some people who don't think we have a parking problem. I don't know where those people have been in the last 20 years, but I believe that we do have some parking issues and that we need more parking. This would take it away, but also I don't disagree at all with your premise that we need a walkable, bikeable city and a parkable city that encourages people to drive down, park, and come to our businesses. So I think you can have both, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. Fair enough? So when you come, if you get this packet now, you've got it to everybody, they can take a look at it, get you on the agenda for next month for you to consider and approve or deny. Fair enough? And by then, I'd love the chiefs to weigh in. I'd like Jeff to weigh in, and I'd love it if Aaron Frankenfeld at least said he thinks it's a neat idea or any suggestions he has. I know he may not have any, nobody has any power, it's a great, I appreciate that you're
Oh, yeah,
independently.
we've been working closely with Aaron throughout the process.
That's fantastic, and we just met with Aaron, and I said, I said the
Yeah.
same thing to him. I'm confused, we've got biking groups and parking groups, and we need everybody on the same page, and that person's gonna tie all that together, and
Yeah.
is my community development director.
That's great, yeah, and I think it's appropriate too to be talking about Complete Streets now, because there's going to be a, training session on June 7th
Yep.
that everyone here is invited to. We're gonna get out some publicity for that, it's 90 minutes. The public, the Public Safety Board should really probably be interested in this, because Complete Streets do reduce pedestrian and cyclist injuries and deaths. Right now, nationally, we've seen a spike in the last 2 years in bike and pedestrian deaths. It's unprecedented, whether it's distracted driving, bigger vehicles, and we're starting to realize now, no matter how much education you can provide for people, it really is how you engineer and design the built environment. So a lot of it's engineering, a lot of it's the physical layout of this infrastructure. So when we talk about Complete Streets, it sort of makes this real, and we can address this. We just saw it in the news today, or yesterday, 2 days ago. We have pedestrian and cyclist fatalities in our area. Complete Streets are a proven way to reduce those injuries and deaths. And it's good for economic development. It's also good to address the parking situation. We call it transportation demand management. If we can find a way in our small city to get people to take that 1 mile ride downtown on a bicycle, that's going to free up a lot of parking. So I think we hit a lot of different things. So yeah, we definitely love to make sure that we're coordinating closely with the city on this one.
Great.
So is there a plan for seasonal adjustment? Are we gonna lock out parking spaces and reserve them for bicycles in January, February, and March?
It's a good question. I couldn't say. I couldn't speak to that.
Most people I know hang up their bikes when it's icy and snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people, as long as the roads are clear, people are riding bikes
Well,
throughout the
yeah.
year. Some people don't have a
The lane's
choice.
there, so I mean, if they wanna
Yeah.
ride their bike.
Right,
and
people
it's not
rely on it.
snowing, they're
Well,
gonna-
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, are we gonna preclude parking spaces for people to come downtown during months when most people don't ride bicycles?
Well, I think that we should take information as it comes to us, and again, I start to get the community development director, the chiefs, and you as a board of information in front of you, so you can help us form a vision. The answer to that question, I think if you ask several different leaders in the city, we'd come up with several different answers, and it all depends on your belief of the statements that were just made about bicycles. And I don't know, you'd get the same thing if we talked about electric vehicles and charging stations, right? Cities invested, well, it didn't cost us anything, we used state and federal dollars, but we've put in over 24 charging stations across the city, and they're being used quite a bit. But there are other people who, if we stood here and asked them, they'd say, oh, it's a pipe dream, it's never gonna happen. So I think that this is the beginning of looking and gathering some information about people's thoughts on this, about the safety of it. I think that we need to go down when he has this, that we make sure that we look and see what we like and don't like as well. Because I think that we all have to, and I don't think we've done it, so I want to look at it that holistic way. I don't think anybody can answer that question, because it would all believe on, what do you think the safety is? Is it safer to have no bikes, bike lanes? You're right, New York City, right, everywhere, right? It's funny, when I'm in New York City, traveling the road across the street, I'm a little more scared about the e-bikes that are in the bike lane than I am the cars.
Those guys are fast.
Right? And they come out of nowhere and they're silent, whereas at least you hear a car. So I think that it's a great question. I just don't think we're ready even close to being able to answer it. But what we're talking about is the start of the conversation. And again,
That's a very good point, because you mentioned the man who got himself killed. That was because of incompetent operation of his bicycle.
They're still investigating, I think, but there could be.
Yes.
Who knows? Yeah, I mean, and the important thing too is like, hey, if you give people a safe option to operate a bike and you enforce the rules, you know, and everyone's on the same, it's predictable behavior by motorists and bicycles, it alleviates a lot of the concerns. And if you give them the right infrastructure to do it, I think that will eliminate a lot of the risk that we see today. But yeah, it's a demonstration, it's a starter.
Yeah.
So part of my grant, we can hire experts on e-bikes and micromobility and as well as parking. And we can have them come in and do a session with you all to talk about the facts. They don't give you opinions, they just give you, these are the facts, this is where micromobility is going in the future. This is how parking is addressed other places in situations similar to ours. And if that's something you're interested in doing.
What is micro-mobility?
Micromobility is talking about e-bikes, e-scooters,
Yeah.
and things like that. Micromobility is you're getting rid of your car to transition to a different form of model.
That's what that means?
Micromobility, yeah, it's big.
Micro-ability.
I was gonna
Mobile
bring up
mobility.
new business, but I'll wait till we get there.
But yeah, it's an opportunity if you would like I set up a session to have someone come in and just talk about the topic, who's been doing it for 20 years, you know. They do it all over New York State.
Are you talking about motorized?
E-bikes and e-scooters and things like that.
Got a long ways to go.
Yeah, it's just more of an informational thing, you know, just
Yeah.
so that when you do start having these conversations, that you can have the conversations with, you know, some.
Yeah.
And it shows you the forward thinking of Glens Hospital, because that's what he's talking about. The hospital has grant money that's basically on health and mobility, right? Safe transportation, both sidewalks, bikes, everything. So it's, again, another piece to have you come in and talk about it. I think we need to do that, and no matter what you do, whoever you're gonna talk to, let's make sure Pat Dowd is aware, so we have everybody from the different groups all coming to one central location before they come into the Board of Public Safety. I just wanna make sure that there's nothing we're not aware of. Does that make sense? And so,
Thank you
so
for
then the
offering
board, well, and as it comes through the funnel, it would come to the Board of Public Safety. And that'd be a long process where you start to examine these things and help us come up with a long-term plan. You know, and again, if we brought 10 different people in here, we could get 10 different opinions on how viable e-bikes are, how dangerous they are, how, right? We had a heated discussion at one of our city council meetings just recently about it, and that was the wrong approach here. We had to listen and let you guys think about it and help us form a vision.
Yeah.
What time on June 7th?
Oh, that was a previous date. We moved it out now to either July, and this is actually one of the questions we'd like to get through today with you. July 13th?
No, the complete street.
Oh, yeah, June 7th, I believe, 11:30 to 1 PM. I will send out, I can
Chip,
send
can
out the
I
pad.
ask you to email everybody, because I know you're already signed up for that training, aren't you?
I would listen to my.
I can-
Sorry,
I can
June
send-
7th, the training, I know
Where's
you
it
can
gonna-
send
where's
it,
gonna
but,
be?
Virtually.
it's a virtual
virtual.
training.
Yeah, there's a very good consultant that's doing the training session now. It should be really useful. I
Many
think.
council members are attending as well, and Chip can at least email you all that.
Yeah, if you say with the information, I'll get it out.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so this is great. I mean, so basically what we really would like to do though is figure out the date. So I don't know how much of the date matters to this group, but a Wednesday, it's either July 13th or 20th. That's gonna give us the time to plan on it and promote it. We prefer the 13th if possible.
What day of the week is
It's a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday
it? That's
evening.
probably our
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh, huh?
Is that our meeting?
I don't,
It's the second
you're
week.
asking.
Second Wednesday.
Yeah, it's the second
Second
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That's
All
our
right.
meeting.
Yeah, we could be part of the meeting, go and check it out. Chiefs, before we, so if we give you a date, it's gonna be a tentative date, fair enough? Like,
Yeah.
so if approved in the June,
Depends on how much.
in the
we
June
got
meeting,
going.
yeah, if approved in the June meeting, then the date would be July 13th. Do you gentlemen have any thoughts about this, grave concerns that you might be able to share with us?
No, not looking at the application.
You just got it?
Just gave it to us.
Okay, so, can we, to give Ethan a chance to plan, can we say that if we approve it, that July 13th would be a reasonable date on a Wednesday?
Sure.
Is that reasonable?
Thank you.
My pleasure. And feel free to email. It's all in there. Look at the Bike Glens Falls website too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great job.
looking forward
Thank
to
you.
it. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for further you know, taking this further and
Yeah, no,
doing your due diligence. Thank you.
we see a lot of potential here.
All right. So under new business, do we have any new business?
One quick thing, and I'm not gonna, but I guess you've already discussed the bike lane use of e-bikes at the council.
Well, so what we know is that it went, so the city, the county, owns the bike path, right? And the county County Board of Supervisors were looking at doing a, temporary trial period. And that, our two supervisors, so it's through the second ward is the majority of of the area that would be in the second ward. So the, Bob Landry from the council of the second ward and Peter McDevitt, I believe, voted against it. And that it was then tabled and hasn't been approved. There was public that came to discuss it, and the council member had some disagreements with what the member of the public was saying about these bikes. They were sharing their concerns. That's all. So no resolution. No, I don't think we have any jurisdiction other than to weigh in on whether we agree or not agree, right? The county runs, operates, maintains that bike path. So it's new to me, and I am exploring it, but I don't know that I can forbid or that we can forbid such a thing, right?
If they do allow it, I think each one of them should have a forward-facing headlight. It's the same thing as a motorcycle.
It's
And
an
you've got
absolute nightmare.
somebody
It's a
coming
motorized
at you.
vehicle, isn't it?
It's a nightmare.
Well,
But you've got,
it's not even that, it's you've got a motorized bicycle coming at you, it's a distance away, if you can't see this thing, and you've got kids out there. I only throw this out here because I know it's a hot topic.
Yeah, fair enough.
I've seen enough here in the city of these guys.
You've
Don't get me
got-
started.
you've got young kids in middle school that are on e-scooters, not the bicycle, scooters, motorized scooters.
Sure.
We talked
So
about that here.
they're pre-teens even.
Right, not registered licensed people, just on a motorized vehicle.
There's no license required.
I'd like to see what the city can do as an entity to make any sort of rules, regulations, and so forth.
Regarding that portion of,
Regarding the use, the equipment within the city limits.
I was,
One is a headlight, for sure.
This is just a similar
I don't wanna keep this
conversation. No,
going.
no.
Yeah, hell,
you're
I
good.
was on Bay Street, just 2 days ago on Bay Street, picking up a friend, and on the, west side of Bay Street, e-bike, whatever, the electric bike is going south, and, he was flying. And is it Hope Avenue that comes out there by the tile between the cemetery and the tile?
Oh, sure,
think
I'm not
it's
sure, but I
Hope.
know what you mean, yeah.
There's a car there, the bike, and I was like, holy crap, the bike just cuts, the person coming out, you're looking left and right, I don't know, or you should be looking for a bicycle at this time of year, or anything coming,
You know, it's the
but it
same
was
thing
it was a near miss,
as a motorcycle.
it's
Yeah,
a near
or a
miss.
moped at least, right?
I know the
Yeah.
V&T law is a big problem with this thing. I get that.
So
But
do
as
we-
a city, can we do something?
I don't have an answer, but I tell you what, I'll talk to the two chiefs and we'll see
Something to throw
if
out
we
there.
can, maybe there's a.
Well, maybe the
there's a
city
code or
attorney too
something.
can tell you, give you a legal opinion whether the city can
Good.
do something or not.
What our options are?
Yeah,
Let me bring it back to you. Can you make a note for me?
that's it.
Great. Thank you, great conversation.
Okay.
Any other new business? Okay. Any old business?
Last time we met, Central Avenue was status quo, violations have been given. I did drive by, looks like everything's the same there, is there any update?
It's the same.
Yes.
It's the same?
Nothing's
Central
changed.
Avenue?
Yeah, I apologize, I meant to contact Chris Glens.
Well, it's okay.
I got a little busy, so I did not before the meeting. So
Okay.
I don't don't know if there's been any change. I
Right.
just know that they've issued 2 violations, and I'm not sure, if it's violations are going to be, it's probably going to be a month or 2.
Okay.
The time the violations, by the time it goes through the process. So,
Court.
if we're not getting voluntary compliance, just from experience, it's probably gonna be a court issue, so you could be a couple months out.
Very
from a
good.
decision.
Okay, thank you. I just wanna make sure it doesn't get
No.
lost.
Central Ave.
Yeah.
It's the fence, remember?
Oh, it's the same, the fence
Yes.
person, gotcha, yep. Thank you. I'll try to bring an update, for you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other new, old business? Chief Smith's report.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have a lot in my official report, but it's kind of under old business. I just received an email today from Aaron Frankenfeld. He's the director of the Adirondack Glens Falls Transportation Council, and this is in regards to the study being conducted at the intersection of Glen Street, Sanford Street, and Grant. So he emailed me 2 proposals from 2 different companies that are looking at doing the study. And I only bring this up now because one of the proposals is they want to try to put a traffic cam, a camera up at that intersection. They want to do that relatively soon and try to get as much footage as they can before school starts or before school ends. So I
Do
brought.
we need to approve that? Is that why you're telling us? Or you just give us?
There's money involved.
There.
I'm not approving anything.
We can't do that, sir.
So my understanding is that the city contracts with the transportation council. And
Okay.
then they contract with other companies that do this type of work.
Okay.
So I just wanted to pass these out so that you have an opportunity
So this is a proposed contract
for next meeting.
coming to me.
Yes.
Can you
It
give
gives
me
you
a
the
little more,
scope of
maybe
the
the
work.
other, board
Thank you.
members? Can you give me a little history on what was, why they're doing this study for us?
Yes, we had one of our crossing guards that is posted at that location come to us in December with some concerns about that intersection. And
I'm good.
we,
Get my minor done.
and then this is the other,
Oh.
this is the other company. So I had brought it up to the board at that point to see if we can get a study done there, to see what kind of situation is actually going on, because the crossing guard is very concerned about, being able to cross the children safely.
Gotcha.
So
Chief, I'll
it was
take
brought-
that one if you've got it.
Yes, sir. So it was brought up, Mayor Hall was still in office,
Gotcha.
and then we decided to move forward with the council.
Uh-huh. Did we,
To
did
move
we
forward.
enter into an agreement for the beginning of this? It sounds like you're partially in the traffic stuff and.
Correct. So we entered into the agreement that the city had to do that
Mhm.
with the transportation council for them to bid out to try to get this intersection study.
And do you know how much the first piece of it was that we've already agreed to?
I do not know that.
Okay.
I don't-
But we already have, and the city, the council's already approved it,
Yes.
and I just don't remember, cause, yeah. All right, and so now, it looks like that there's an additional piece of this that they're suggesting that we have, which includes video, or recording, right?
Recording of the intersection.
Recording of the
And then the other company would come out and do a full study and all the details are in there, the scope of the work.
Okay.
And what they would be doing, and the prices for each one.
Okay, and, understood that the council would then have to approve this. Does your budget have any, money that, or is this, do I need to take this out of fund balance?
I believe because of the the scope of it, of the work and where it's going to be, the intersection. And because the city's already contracted with the council, I'm assuming that if you decide to move forward with any studies, it will come out of the city.
City, general fund.
General fund.
General fund. And it looks like 5,000 is the fee.
There's one for 5,000 and one for 13.
Yeah.
Well, how about the 5? You guys all like the 5?
That was in the first packet.
So obviously, once you have an opportunity to take a look at
Okay.
both proposals and,
And if I can get this, if I can get council, well, first of all, do you guys have any questions about this, thoughts?
No.
Okay. So we're in it now, right? We gotta finish this, we'll do what we can. Probably need to move forward one way or another, so that we get traffic while school's still in. So that would have to happen fairly quickly.
fairly soon, yes.
I'm a little confused about what the problem at the intersection is.
The problem is, there's not a lot of, there's only one no turn on red, that's part of the issue. The part of the issue is the intersection is offset. Sanford Street headed west, down to Grant Ave is offset. The crossing guard has, there's only one actual crosswalk for 4 locations, for 4 streets. So he's having an issue there. So that's why I brought it up, to you guys. And that was where we ended up was going forward with the Transportation Council. And then they came to us with the studies. So it's a bad intersection. There's horrible glare there. And the crossing guard is having a hard time crossing the kids because they come from all directions at the same time. There's, you're not supposed to be turning right on red, but people turn right on red. People are going around people that turn left. It's a mess. So they wanted to get some footage of what is actually going on there so that they can make a better.
Then theoretically, once they figure it out, they'll recommend reconfiguring the intersection.
That's what I'm guessing. Yeah.
Well, I've lived near there for almost 50 years, and I'm aware of the
Yeah.
intersection.
Yeah.
When they had a junior high there on Sanford Street, where Bosse's is, they got the city to adjust the stoplights so that there was a delay. And motorists complained, but that was the cheap and dirty response in those days.
Sure.
I find that the traffic coming east on Grant when school is out is awful. It's absolutely awful, and people are trying to beat the light,
Yeah.
and they're not paying attention.
They're trying to
I
beat the
live-
light
I
right
live
there.
close by too, and it's,
They're waiting for traffic so they can turn left. People that
Yes.
want to go straight are going around the people that are waiting to turn left. So now put kids in the mix of that.
I thought, and very possible I'm incorrect, that if you were in a school zone, there was absolutely no turning on right at all anyway. Is that not fact?
Well, that's fact. In the signage, some of the signage is there. You can turn right on red during non-school hours.
That's right. It was a big crossing.
But I don't believe there is a no, I
There's
don't
one-
know,
there's-
on
there's-
Sanford Street
there's-
going west, if there is one.
Yeah.
I know a lot of
I
people
don't
turn
think-
right.
I don't think there is one.
A lot of people,
When they sold the school.
they
Oh,
did.
there you go.
They did, yeah. There's no sign, I don't believe going
There's
west.
still one sign going north on Glen.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Is that good?
So that's what these people will take a look at.
Okay.
That's what they do, and they will put
Okay.
forward a proposal with their recommendations as to what needs to be done.
Okay.
is it the board's consensus that this is an important process to finish?
I think so.
I do,
Yeah,
I do, yes.
Okay. So, let me take it to council, make sure they're okay in finding the money in the general fund. And I'll go ahead and, if you all are in agreement, then I'll go ahead and move forward, and you'll see it on the next is that it'll be approved retroactive with your approval. Does that make sense? Or I'll go ahead and move forward with your retroactive approval. It'll be on the June 2nd thing. Meanwhile, I'll go ahead and find this and get this signed and get it out, because we're almost there, right? We got a month and a half.
It's the
So-
consensus of the board.
Consensus of the board that it's worthy, it's a good project that needs to be finished for the public safety.
Yes.
Can you make sure that's noted? Thank you. Good work. Let's see.
Other than that, I don't have
Yes,
anything else.
your report in general, anything you wanna highlight for us, or your
No, it's just a
quiet month?
typical report. So I just request executive session.
We do executive session, so we'll do that at the end after Chief Schrammel.
Absolutely.
And it's not every month that you get to catch a bank robber.
Well, I was gonna bring that up next week.
You are, all right, there you go.
It's on the agenda for next week.
All right, there you
He's
go.
gonna commend you on that.
Good work.
That was good police work.
Yes, it was, absolutely.
Any, do we have a motion to approve the chief's report?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief Schrammel.
Mine's also brief. All we had, just want to let you know, I think it's in your packet, that Assistant Chief Tom Center decided to retire. So his official last day was last week. He worked on Thursday, and that was his last day. So right now that opens up promotional positions. We still have the position for Assistant Chief Pettis. So of course, which will open up lieutenant's positions. So as of today, this morning, I just got confirmation from Civil Service. The captain's test was put out for Civil Service. They had till Monday to sign up for it, and they canvassed the list of people to be willing to take provisional appointments for the captain's position, and all 5 of the current lieutenants said they would be willing to take a provisional appointment to that position. Currently we have 3 eligible for the first lieutenant's promotion, and then we'll have 5 for the next promotion. So we have 3 on the top of the list. Once we hire 1, it brings up 3 more, so we'll have 5. What I would try to request the board is to at least consider is, I know they like to interview these people, is to schedule time to interview. The problem with it is you're talking 11 interviews.
Wow, I mean, for that,
So I don't know if you
We
wanted to
should
do
break it up.
I didn't know if we wanted to do a panel interview, I didn't know if you wanted to do some sort of, something like that, where you have 2 different people on the table at the same time. I didn't know if you wanted to break it up and do a couple days, and maybe do, but whatever the board determines. If you want to get back to me, it'd be great if we could schedule that before, the next meeting, so everything's ready to go. I'm in the process right now of doing my internal interview process, so I'll break down the information I get for you, and I'll bring that in, so you'll have it prior to the interview you do.
okay, we'll wait to hear from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, whatever works for you guys, so.
Yeah.
I'll send out just the thing and tell
Why,
you.
why don't you complete your thing that way?
I'll be ready, I already handed out the packets to each
I
of you.
mean, I'm just suggesting that.
Yeah, I already handed out the packet, so I can't imagine that taking me longer. I should be done with that by the end of next week for sure.
Okay,
Are you comfortable with the panel interview?
We're trying to do panel interview, or do you want to do just separate interviews?
I like separate interviews on maybe a couple of different days if anybody is available.
can we possibly do it without doing it attached to the board meeting rather than?
Yeah.
No, I'd rather have a special meeting.
Yeah.
I think
That's
that
the
works
only thing
better
I ask.
when you deal with a lot of
After that
reviews.
marathon.
And I'm open,
That's the last-
and like I said, I don't know what the board's availability is, but I'm open to do it in the
Well,
day.
I'm
open to do it
open.
You
in
want
the-
a day or-
I think that's a
Very-
better idea, do it separate.
Whatever the board's available.
I can remember before, I think Bob Kent too, we said that we had some meetings on a Saturday morning for interviews.
Yeah.
So I'll
And
probably,
Barry used to bring the donuts.
I'll shoot out something, I'll put out something next week to everybody,
Okay.
and it's probably gonna be the week after that, and then the next week, so 2 consecutive weeks. And I'll just kinda say, what's your availability, once we, a consensus of when people are available, we'll just go ahead and schedule it.
Okay.
So, and again, this also brings up the same problem we've been having, so now we are 6 firefighters short. So, just sort of is aware of that.
So we made some progress though regarding the provisional position, right?
Yeah, so we can actually, and I don't know how it works out in the context of service, I believe that both may be provisional, because the slots that the lieutenant slots are based off of the ability of the captains to be successful in the exam and on the list. So there is a possibility that she may make everybody provisional until the captain's results, the final results come out. We will have 2 captain's positions and 2 lieutenant positions. Interviewing.
So, oh, we're only gonna do 4 interviews?
No, that's the positions.
Oh, the
So
position, okay.
You're gonna
But the-
appoint,
yes,
you're gonna appoint
gotcha.
2 captains.
I got you, I got you.
Yeah, 2 out of 5 candidates and 2 out of 6 candidates.
Okay,
And that's all I have.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Jamie, is the board okay, if I, use, some budget from my, the mayor's thing and get this, person, Tom Center, a plaque from the Board of Public Safety? I'll call you in, we'll have you sign it at whatever time soon and get this to him, so recognize on behalf of the city and Board of Public Safety. Okay,
Sure.
I haven't,
don't know.
it's
Have we
gotten
done
away
that
from me, I
before?
apologize, I'm a little busy, but I wanna,
No, it's
we
fine.
need to do more, right? I'm happy that we put it on the next calendar, we start talking about a procedure that when somebody retires, what we can do to recognize them. But at least we can start with a plaque. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Motion to approve, Chief.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. That is, I believe we go into executive session. And, do we have any business that we're expecting an executive session, Chief, that we'd be taking action? If not, we could close the meeting and then, Peter can go home. And then we'll record that, we'll come back out, but as long as there's no,
I just have an interview for a lateral
just
transfer.
interview. So therefore, we're not, either way, we wouldn't be taking action, or would we be trying to appoint somebody today?
Yes.
We would, so, okay, then please, Megan,
Everybody's gotta stay.
sorry, so, yes, you guys stay. Apologize. You don't have to, we don't have to have the entire thing video,
Okay, great.
but I just wanna, you gotta stay, cause I think we're gonna come out and make an appointment if we all agree. Okay?
Excuse me, Mayor,
Do we have a motion to go into executive session?
so moved.
Second.